down, speak louder. That was my name. Stack. Eagerly leaving the scene to go and chase his dream. On a mission, wishing ever since he was only 15. With sincerity, I'll never give in to the popularity. The clarity's a rarity when you're compared to me. Now where were we? And I don't mean to be cocky, but I'm never doing this sloppy. And all that hating, it's not me. So I'm original, no copy. Can't copy my swag. I'm spitting liquid, twisting like my name was Mickey Fast. And I'm the 11th freshman on the cover, double XL. Didn't get any recognition cause I forgot how to spell. Fixed it with the quick lyricisms, now I gotta spit quick as hell. Now I'm doing it well. Ain't hard, but I bet you can tell. And a lot in my method, I said.
So, as I was about to say, joining me tonight is a man who is on his way to the fan-controlled Football League's championship game this very weekend. In fact, it's actually tomorrow night. So make sure to tune in on Twitch for free. His name is Tommy Auger, and he is a tight end with the Board Ape Football Club. He will team up with former guest of the show, Quantez Stiggers, in pursuit of their first FCF championship game victory. Thank you for joining us tonight, Tommy. How are you doing, and how pumped are you to be heading into the championship game this very weekend?
I'm super pumped. Definitely biggest goal at the start of the season was to get to the championship game and win it. So we got the first step of it done, getting to the playoffs and getting to the championship game now. It's just basically 60 minutes more of execution, and hopefully we'll, end up on top. So.
Absolutely. So why don't you go ahead and give us a brief introduction to yourself as a player and a person, and then we'll get into more detail here in a bit.
Yeah. So I grew up in Minnesota, went to St. John's University, which is in central Minnesota. And then for football career, basically last year I played over in Europe in Austria, which was just the time of my life. I had a ton of fun doing that. And then this year went to a workout in California for the FCF, and they signed me after that. And here I am today playing football in Atlanta here for the FCF.
Awesome. So yeah, definitely kind of a roundabout, or not roundabout, but a different kind of way to make it into the professional football world, but interesting journey nonetheless. Talk to me about how much different the Austrian game must be from the fan-controlled football league.
Yeah, it's definitely, the biggest difference between that and here in FCF is just it being outdoors and 11-man football. That's the part that I've had to adjust the most about the FCF, is just the fact that there's 7 players out there. So really, like, a lot of your reads when you're running your route, like, are a little bit different. There's only one linebacker. Almost every time you'll have a D-end head up, and sometimes he runs with you on coverage. So, like, reading coverages and, like, getting used to the indoor and 7-man game has been the biggest difference. But the biggest difference, like, in terms of Europe football versus, like, college football in America is just usually the roster depth, like, since it's, like, growing in popularity and not all the way as popular as in America yet. Like, there's generally, like, the top end players in Europe are really, really good players, and then it falls off faster than you'd see on a roster here in the United States.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So at what age did you really start getting involved in sports? Was football your first sport?
As long as I can remember, I've really been playing sports. Definitely football, baseball, hockey when I was younger were, like, all I wanted to do growing up. I was always out in the backyard, either hitting off the tee, or my dad just throwing, like, underhand wiffle balls to me, or we were playing catch with the football, or out on the pond playing hockey. So really, sports is, as long as I can ever remember, been basically all I've wanted to do and what I've enjoyed the most.
That's awesome. I was going to say, doing research on your career, or I guess your background in sports, is kind of insane. You've played and done a little bit of everything when it comes to sports.
Yeah. Funny thing is, I actually lettered in 4 different sports in high school. Football, baseball, hockey, both hockey and basketball. So I played a little bit.
Really? I did not catch hockey.
Yeah, hockey was kind of actually, like, the first sport I really, really, I guess, probably dove into the hardest, just being from Minnesota and all. But as I got a little bit older, like into travel baseball, and once we actually could play football with pads on, those kind of took like the front seat. And hockey, I kind of tailed off on how much I loved hockey, but it's still enjoyable to like get out on the pond and play some hockey or watch the NHL playoffs and all that stuff. So
There you go. There you go. So, growing up in Minnesota, are you a Vikings fan?
yeah, I like the Vikings, but my favorite team was always the Denver Broncos, just because my godfather, their family is Broncos fans, and I would get hand-me-down clothes from their son. So I like growing up, I had like a Terrell Davis jersey and a John Elway jersey and like some Broncos T-shirts. So that just kind of became my team from a young age. And originally, like in middle school and stuff, I always had to like kind of like argue with people on like the Viking, like because they would give me crap for being a Broncos fan. But so I for a while I had like some disdain towards like the Vikings just because I would always hear crap from Vikings fans. But now as I like grew into like high school and college, like the Vikings are my second favorite team. Just enjoy watching them on Sundays with my buddies and being from Minnesota. But yeah, the Broncos will always be the number one team I root for just watching.
That's awesome. So, here, check this out. This is from when my brother was 3 years old.
Oh, heck yeah.
There's
That's
a bunch
awesome.
of signatures. They're really hard to read, but like I'm pretty sure we got Rod Smith's rookie signature on there. And I want to say I'd have to look at it, but I think Shannon Sharp's on there as well. We were both born and raised in Denver, Colorado, so I know
Okay.
you see a bunch of Eagles gear
Yeah.
behind me. But yeah, we grew up Broncos fans. We witnessed the back-to-back championships in '98, '99, and then we kind of both split our separate ways in terms of teams. He's an Atlanta Falcons fan. I'm an Eagles fan. So it just kind of same situation. We grew up in Denver, but ended up fans of other teams. But I still root for the Broncos as long as they're not playing the Eagles, of course.
There you go.
So obviously, as we were just talking about, you played multiple sports. So what led you to choose football long term over these other options?
So originally I had a tough time just choosing football. Coming out of high school, we had a really, really good baseball team, and I wasn't ready to give up baseball yet. So that was part of the reason I decided to go to St. John's, is they allowed me to play both football and baseball. Whereas if I went to a higher division school, I wouldn't have been able to play baseball. Just I didn't have like the velocity on my pitches or anything to play D2 or D1 baseball. And St. John's really let me balance that, and it was a great place to get a good education. So I thought that was I'm probably still the best decision I ever made was to go to St. John's and do both those. But like after college, I originally didn't really have plans of playing football. I knew there was like maybe some opportunities, but I had accepted a job after college with a tax firm. So I did that for about a year until I couldn't like stay away from football any longer and decided to sign that contract and go over and play in Europe. So the main reason I chose football over baseball was just that was always a sport I was better at. If I had a 96 mile an hour arm, I might be playing baseball instead. So really, it was just a choice of that's what I enjoyed more and that's what I was better at.
Gotcha. Interesting. It's always kind of interesting to hear how guys like yourself that have played multiple sports end up settling on football or whatever it may be. You attended St. Cloud Cathedral High School,
Mm-hmm.
correct? You have really demonstrated the kind of athlete you were on the football field. You played both offense and defense, if I'm not mistaken. Tell us which positions you played on the defensive side of the ball and what led you to offense long term.
So originally on defense, freshman year, I got a few opportunities on varsity sparingly, and I was kind of smaller at that time, so I played safety my freshman year, and then got an opportunity to kind of start at outside backer sophomore year, and also maybe junior year too, and then senior year I played middle linebacker, and it was kind of the same story on offense. I started off, I played tight end, and then switched back to receiver, and just switched back to tight end, just based on like kind of the offense we ran. We ran a little bit of a more pro style offense, and then switched to more of a spread style offense. So it was kind of just bouncing around and playing really wherever I could help the team the most. So yeah.
Gotcha. Was that something that you did over in Austria? Did you play both ways?
Nope, just offense. And the rule in Europe is you can only have a certain number of American players on the field at the same time. So if I would have like hopped over on defense and gave them a few reps at there, like one of our other American guy would have had to come off the field. So that was I've heard some people doing that in Europe, but in our league that wasn't really an option in Austria.
Gotcha. Okay. Your senior season of high school, you threw a 31-yard pass attempt. Was that the first time you attempted a pass at the high school level? And was it something you
our
practiced
quarterback.
before?
No,
Sorry about that.
I had never practiced it before. Our starting quarterback got hurt literally the second to last drive of the game, so we had to go in and basically just try to run like a Hail Mary type offense from our own 20. We got one pass off or one deep pass off. It must have been 31 yards. We tried to get up there and call a timeout. We thought we got there to basically we would have been able to then throw it to the end zone kind of in a Hail Mary, but didn't get that off. And then so it's actually funny. I've thrown one pass in high school, completed it. One pass in college. We ran like a tight end reverse pass against St. Thomas. I threw it back to the quarterback. And then we also ran I'm 1-for-1 in Austria as well. We did like a screen pass again. So I'm all time 100% completion at quarterback. So maybe I gotta make the position change to there.
I was kind of wondering, I mean, you played pitcher in baseball, correct?
Yep.
So, I mean, pitcher, quarterback, they kind of go hand in hand. I was actually kind of surprised by your size, your background in baseball, that there wasn't more quarterback somewhere in your background.
Yeah, well, we always just had really good quarterbacks growing up on our team in high school, so there was never a need for it, really. So,
really, gotcha. So tight end was the position you could play at, basically.
mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yep. So, and it was kind of just another one that just fit my body type well, and learned to just love it. So,
absolutely. So in college, as you kind of talked about earlier, you continued to play both football and baseball once again. You pitched and played tight end, as we just talked about. To me, when I think pitcher, I think quarterback, and we just talked about that. How did you ultimately end up at wide receiver and tight end?
like going into college?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was
high school, basically.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple schools like recruiting me to play linebacker in college, and I kind of had just already made up my mind. I was like, I just like offense more. I like having the ball in my hand. I like blocking. So those schools like I basically just told them, I'm planning on playing tight end. Like if you want to give me a scholarship there to play tight end, I might consider it, but I don't think I'm really interested in playing linebacker, at the next level. It was kind of more of a thing to just, that I was doing in high school to try to help our team win. And, but at the end of the day, I liked playing offense a lot more. So stuck with that.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Who doesn't like catching the ball and, running over a dude?
Yeah.
You actually come into college somewhat undersized for a tight end. I think you were 6'3", 210 pounds at the time. What did you have to change up in your training and your basically your entire life to get to the point where you were 235 pounds by the time you left college?
Just, buying into really trusting and buying into the strength program at St. John's. We had a really good strength and conditioning coach, and he helped put a lot of strength on me and a lot of weight on me. And actually, that's probably what I listed freshman year, 210, but I was probably more like 205 or even lower than that, because at high school I played probably 190 or 195, because senior year I was doing a lot more, split out receiver type stuff. So I had to put on a lot of weight, to be able to handle blocking and inline blocking at the next level. And really the main benefit, or the main thing that got me there was just, buying into the strength and conditioning program.
Absolutely. And you play about 245 now, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's about right.
Gotcha.
And now I don't have to bump the number up. I'm actually about 245 to 240, depending on the day. So I don't have to give myself 5 pounds to make myself seem not undersized.
Gotcha. There you go. So definitely like kind of prototypical tight end size right now in the NFL, if you ask me.
Yeah, so that's what I'm hoping for. So try to play at the highest level. So if I can get there, and I think I've done a lot that shows I could play at that level. So hopefully that's the goal to get there.
Agreed. I think you have shown a lot, and yeah, obviously, I think everybody's goal is to make it to the NFL at some point, and all you can do is put the power in your own hands and kind of play your best when you're on the field. And it seems like you've done that. A lot of times, I kind of made the joke that you're uh, touchdown Tommy because it seems like every other reception you have, you're in the end zone again. So I mean, if anybody has proven their worth from the FCF, I believe you're one of the guys.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, and my goal, just every league I've been at, I've tried to just prove I'm the best at my position, and so far it's worked out. With the getting named All Pro today, I've been all state in high school, All American in college. I led all receivers in Austria, and now got named All Pro for this league. So I think I've continued to prove that I can play at whatever level I'm given a chance at, and hopefully that helps me keep moving up to the next level and beyond. So
Absolutely. I'm gonna see if I can pull up that list here. Speaking of which, perfect. So that might be kind of hard for us to see, but you should be able to see it when it's edited on YouTube. But right there at the tight end position, right there listed first. So that was definitely kind of cool. He actually sent that to me right before we got on camera here. So always kind of cool to see this guy get a little bit of recognition right before we come into the interview.
yeah, it was definitely like I said, the one of my two goals for the season was to win the championship, and the other one was to be named to the All Pro team. So definitely happy and that I got a chance to achieve both now.
Absolutely. So getting back to where we were at during college, it seemed like every season your coaching staff found more and more ways to get you involved, whether it was offensively or in the special teams game. As a freshman, you got in on the kick return team. Then as a sophomore, you got involved in the passing game. As a junior, kind of combined the two, and then threw a pass as well. Then as a senior, you kind of really showcased your versatility and got in as a punter as well.
Yeah.
While also setting a career high in receptions. How are you able to be so versatile? Do you practice all these different roles, or is it just something where you're willing to jump in wherever the team needs you, whether you're prepared or not?
That's definitely true. I'm just willing to help out wherever I can. That's why I really have found a love in blocking. Like I think a lot some tight ends might not like the blocking portion much of the tight end position, but that's one of my favorite parts because I know I can, even if I'm not getting the ball, I can help our team get in the end zone. And also just like with just the punting and like special team stuff, I think I learn stuff pretty quickly generally. So just kind of if it's something I can help out the team with, I'm just willing to do it. So
Absolutely. You graduated college following the 2018 season, and you actually it was actually 2019 spring season, and you actually went into the workforce like we talked about earlier. You said you were doing taxes while you were away from the game. Tell us about how you felt about the job at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it at first. It was nice, to get a decent sized paycheck and all that stuff. But as time went on, and especially once we were quarantined and had to work from home every day, I just couldn't stop like thinking about football and wishing I was still playing. And I knew in the back of my mind I could still play at a really high level. And I'd stayed in shape and kept working out. So it just was something that I knew I would regret if I didn't take the chance and go over and play in Europe and follow my dreams. So I did taxes for it might have been a little less than a year, but it was it was something that helped me realize this isn't what I want to be doing as a 22-year-old. Like I still have the ability to follow my dreams, so I'm going to go do that.
Absolutely. So how exactly did the opportunity with Austria come about?
So I had reached out to a bunch of teams, but one of my former teammates at St. John's had played for the Cineplex Blue Devils in Austria 4 years prior. So I asked him if he could get me in touch with that team. And when it came down to decision time, I just felt like most comfortable with going there just because it's something he had done and, he'd given me a little bit more insight on. Whereas if I went to a different European city, I wasn't really knowing like what I was getting myself into going halfway across the world. And the other thing was Cineplex let me bring my fiance with me to live with me in Europe. So that was another huge factor that made me decide to go there.
That's awesome. That's how it should be done anyway, in my personal opinion. Talk to me about how your time in Austria went and what you thought about the AFL.
Yeah, I definitely made a lot of good friends. Some that'll be coming to my wedding, even from all the way from Europe. They said they're coming along, so I'm super pumped to see those guys again. So a lot of really good friendships, a lot of memories I'm not going to forget, like places that I really didn't think I would maybe ever see. And then, getting the chance to do what I love for a living and play football, it was really awesome. And they let me, play inline tight end, wing, split out, and I think that really helped us, on offense and helped me get a lot of, success on the field. So I can't thank them enough for, giving me a chance and bringing me over there.
Absolutely. How does the level of play over there compare to the FCF?
The FCF's got, probably just more consistency across it. I think there's definitely some European players over there that could play in the FCF. But like I said, just as it not being the most popular sport over there, the rosters generally start to fall off towards the end of it. But there is a lot of really good players in there. And I'm excited to see where football in Europe goes in the future because it keeps gaining popularity each year. And I think the football over there keeps getting better. So it's really becoming more of a global sport rather than just an American sport, which is really, really awesome to see.
Absolutely. In fact, the ELF is gaining a lot of steam. I'll actually be covering all of the American players for CFLNewsHub.com here shortly, so that'll be fun. There's a lot of Americans over there.
One of my best buddies and my college quarterback plays over there for the Vienna team.
Really? Jackson
Jackson
Erdman?
Erdman.
Okay,
and he played.
That's awesome.
He played and won the championship last year in the FCF. So we
Yes,
kind of
he
did
did
a
with the
little
Wild Aces.
country or league swap here.
That's awesome. Awesome. I was literally just doing research on him the other day, actually, from my article I was just talking about. So it's kind of funny that you said that because I started with Vienna by randomness. So I'm not too deep into it, but I'm trying to get like quotes and stuff from everybody, and I've actually got like 5 players come back so far. But anyway, getting back to the point at hand, following the season in the AFL, you would end up attending the 2021 Hub Football Camp, which has led more than one player to the NFL. Tell me what you had hoped to gain from the camp and how it has helped you in your career.
One of the things was just more exposure to, hope. I knew there was NFL teams there, and when I got invited to it, I was like, this is something I definitely got to do. You got to talk to a few NFL teams after. Nothing has came of it so far, but I always keep my hopes up. And then the other thing, going there just to prove that, even though I'm coming from a D3 school, that I can compete against these guys that played in the Big Ten, the SEC, and that's something also I kind of keep a chip on my shoulder here. Like when there's guys that have played at major college football that, us guys from St. John's and the MIAC conference, we can compete with anyone that played at any level of football.
Absolutely. I would say so. I think proof's in the pudding, right?
Hmm.
I heard that prior to the 2022 USFL launch, you were looking into potentially joining the league. How far along did you get in that process?
So I got a contract for the league to be part of the draft pool, and I just wasn't selected. So I might have, I who knows how close or not close I was, but to being selected. But it was good to get at least the contract, and that they thought I was a player that could play in that league. So that's part of the deal with next year, the XFL coming up. I hope they hopefully again I can get a contract, and maybe this time they'll give me an opportunity to show what I can do on the field.
Absolutely. Finally, in 2022, you land with the FCF for season 2. This league, it stands apart in a world of its own. How did this opportunity come about, and tell me what you like the most about the league so far?
What I like the most about the league is just like the interactions with the fans. I think more than any other league, this league really connects you with them. They have a Discord just for players to just open and talk to the fans, and after games, it's pretty like there's not like a barrier between like fans talking to players and stuff. So that's one part I think is really cool, is just the connection we can get with the fans. And how I led to getting into the FCF was actually right after the hub camp. There was a California tryout for FCF, and I was already in California so that same week. So I was like, I'm just stay a couple extra days and go to this FCF tryout, because I knew my buddy Jackson had played in it last year, and he had some really good things to say about it. So I was like, give it a shot. Did really well at the camp, and especially in like the one-on-one portions. And they called me after the camp and let me know that they were going to be sending me a contract. So that's how it came about. And the other thing I love the most about this league is just there's a lot of really good dudes here, and just the camaraderie with the other players here. So.
Agreed. I've had nothing but good experiences with players over there, to be honest. Prior to the FCF, had the arena game ever been a consideration for you?
Not too much. I went to, or I had a contract from two different CIF teams, but the pay wasn't quite what I was maybe looking for, and FCF paid a little bit more than that. So I was like, this is something I can get on board with. But I hadn't really thought about it much in the Arena League, just because they don't utilize tight ends so much, and that's kind of the position I fit most at when like I go back to the outdoor game. If I go back to the outdoor game, so I definitely like how the FCF actually uses like the tight end position instead of just a bigger body at receiver.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Due to the weekly drafts, you have played on multiple teams this season and played with some of the better quarterbacks in the league. Talk to me about the level of quarterback play that FCF has to offer to prospective receivers considering going to the league.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks here that I could definitely see playing at the next level if they get the opportunity. DeAndre Francois, Ed Crouch, Mitch Kidd. I mean, there's those are just the first ones that come to mind, but there's a bunch of good quarterbacks in this league. Kelly Bryant, Slade Jarman. The level of quarterback play is really high, and I think that's part of the reason that the product on the field comes out as good as it does. I mean, that's where it all starts, and those guys really do a good job of putting a good product on the field for this league.
Absolutely. I'm going to try and play one of the highlights you sent me real quick. So we'll see if that works. It should.
Crouch, Lewis in motion. Crouch, Lewis in motion. Crouch, wide open, back of the end zone. It's a tight end connect. Tommy O'Shea left all alone. Cue Austin Appleby in the chat. One of our tight ends. FCF tight ends to get more touches. More looks. The old tight end pop.
Coach's talk, tight end dump, whatever you want to call it, he's wide open for a touchdown.
And Jeff's spot on. The tight ends have been saying all season long, they are so often wide open that the defensive group, especially when it's aligned and they're matched up against, cannot deal with them in pass.
That was awesome. So as you mentioned, that was Ed Crouch, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, Ed Crouch is obviously one of the better FCF quarterbacks out there. Personally, one of my favorites to watch for that matter. So it definitely just goes to show you that there is a lot of high-level play in the FCF. For those that have not caught a game yet, I highly, highly recommend that you do. It's a very entertaining form of football and probably the most entertaining form of football, in my personal opinion, currently out there. Which teams have you played so far for this season?
So I have played for the Kingpins, the Zappers. So the Kingpins just once, the Zappers on 2 different occasions, and then every other time it's been the Knights and the Board Apes. So those are the Knights and the Board Apes are the teams that I played for the most and kind of considered like my teams and like the guys that were I'd worked with the most. So also those are the kind of the fan bases that I got to interact with the most. So definitely a lot of love for all the teams I played for, but especially those 2.
Absolutely. So you end up on the Board 8 Football Club, as you just mentioned, and you're headed to the championship game. How excited were you when you found out that you'd be playing with the top team in the league in one of the most prominent games in the league?
Definitely excited, and especially after the Knights got eliminated from contention, that was really the only other team I had played for a lot, so I kind of figured they would take us, but I also think they got the best defense in the league with the heavy hitters. So I'm glad we got paired up with the Apes and the best team or the best defense in my opinion in the league. So I think we had a great formula to make a playoff run. So when we got selected by them, I was super pumped about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree. The heavy hitters defense, they dominated the defensive player of the year voting, and Quantez Stiggers and Cecil Cherry combined for I think 75% of the total vote. So, I mean, That should tell you exactly how insane that defense is right now. Cecil Cherry is a beast. Quantez Stigger is a hell of a ball hawk. So that's going to be a fun game to watch tomorrow. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
So it's, as we just talked about, it's been 8 long weeks in the Fan Control Football League, but finally you find yourself on the eve of the championship game. Tell me about your feelings the night before the game. Are there any nerves, or is it just like any other game for you?
Right now it's just like any other game. Really, the only time I get nerves is like when we're running out of the tunnel, and then as soon as we line up for the first play, all the nerves are gone. So I really just have a few momentary here we go. This is it. This is what I've been waiting for. And then we line up. I get the play call. We line up, and no more thoughts about nerves. So I don't really get nervous, during the game or the night before. It's really just the few momentary this is what we've been waiting for, feelings. So
that's awesome. So you will be going up against the Zappers, a team led by Kelly Bryant and Johnny Manziel right now, but one that has struggled to settle on a quarterback this season. Talk to me about your opponent and what you need to do as an offense to go out and do your part to secure victory this weekend.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is just stay on schedule and have everyone focused the entire game. If we stay on schedule and stay focused, I don't think I think we are the better team. So I think everything will work out as planned. And the other thing, big thing, is just protect the ball. In FCF, especially with the way the rules are and no punts, we get 4 downs to get the first down. Really, one of the things that kills offenses the most is just turnovers, because you're not, turning the ball over on downs or anything like that. It's interceptions and fumbles that kill teams. So just protecting the ball, taking care of it, and, keeping focused throughout the entire game.
Absolutely. You did an interview with Granite City Sports in which you said after spending 2019 out of football that you had to see football is still an option for you. Now you find yourself headed into a professional football league championship game. Talk to me about how much this moment means to you, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, I mean, it really is like a dream come true for me to get paid to play football for a living. So especially to have a chance to win a championship game, something that I really was hoping for our senior year of college and thought we were the best team in the country going into the playoffs. We ended up losing in, I think it was the quarterfinals by 3 to the team that ended up winning the national championship. So that was definitely something that haunted me for months, and honestly still to this day that we didn't win that. So this will hopefully, winning this game will at least take a little bit of that those feelings away, to finally get a championship ring and walk out on top of this league.
That'll be awesome. I can't wait to see you win the game and talk to you afterward. That'll be exciting for sure. So what are your long-term goals for your playing and post-playing career? Is there a future in like coaching for you? Or are you going to be the type that's going to go out and try to be a scout, or you going to go back to taxes?
For my playing career, it's really just to play at the highest level I can. That's just always kind of been the goal. Is I have the drive to find out how good I can be, and prove that I can compete with anyone. For post-playing career, I'd be interested in coaching. Probably I do coach at Rosemont High School right now, which is just in Minnesota. I help coach the 10th grade team there, so during the falls. So definitely something I'd be interested in doing long term. I probably wouldn't try to do any higher, like any college or anything like that. But as for like a full-time job besides coaching high school football, I don't really have anything planned out right now. So it's just kind of where it might just be where I find myself in a couple of years. What's the opportunities at the time, and what's calling my name.
Absolutely. Well, it'll be interesting to see, although you have a very long playing career ahead of you, of course. So I'm going to leave you with one last question, and one that I personally already know the answer to, but I want you to kind of tell our fans. We've talked about your background in Austria, your interest in the USFL, and your career in the FCF. Could we see another league in the future? And what is the next move in your football career and your pursuit to continue to play at the highest level possible?
Yeah, so hopefully, I'm at the end of the season, I'll send my tape out to everywhere, NFL, CFL, all that, just see if I can, hopefully get someone to take a chance on me. Otherwise, I'm going to one of the XFL showcases, so that'll be a good opportunity. And then, I definitely would love to play in the FCF again if there's no other higher paying opportunities that call my name. The FCF's treated me super well, and really the only reason I would want to do something else is just be able to get paid more and live more comfortably and all that stuff. So yeah, if nothing else works out, I would love to come back to the FCF again and play here, and hopefully get a chance to play for the championship again next year. So
There you go. I like it. So definitely looking forward to what comes next for you. I ultimately think I'm a little biased, but I think you're going to end up making the XFL or the NFL. We'll see what happens. But I definitely, if nothing else, I would love to see you in the FCF again next year, because I'll definitely be following all 3 leagues no matter what happens. So I'm rooting for you, man. I hope you end up achieving all the dreams you got set forth for you. And I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me, man.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. You have a great rest of your night, and I will definitely keep in touch in the future.
You too. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Glad to have you.